Hey, how are you?
I was muted. Okay. I'm good. How are you? Hold on one second. I'm trying to help cook my did it connect? I need to put these. Okay, there we go. Oh, my hair. It's caught. Okay. I know people probably looking like, what is going on with her?
No, you got to get ready. I get it. You came in a little bit early, so
Yeah, and
that's
then
what I try to do too. Make sure everything's on the up and up. We're already streaming live on Facebook,
hey
so
Facebook.
hey.
Hello. Okay, these ain't working, so I'm gonna just take them out. I'm gonna share this real quick in my group
Absolutely, absolutely. Get to it.
because I told them that I would. Okay, there we go, right there. So share in group. Where's my group? Oh, there we go. No. Okay, it should be up. Can you hear my mom talking?
No.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, I'm about to go back there like now. Come on now. Okay.
No.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, cool, cool. Welcome. I'm so
Thank you
happy
for
you are
having me.
able to join us today. So, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
I
I
just stood
have
in a
no
long,
complaints.
very long post office line
Oh,
before this. So
I can only imagine because it's getting close to that cutoff time. I can only imagine.
yeah.
All right, all right. Well, Asia, please introduce us to you. Tell us what's your name, where you're from, what name you write on under, and is this a pen name or not?
Okay, so I'm Asia Monique. That is my actual name, my first and middle name. um, and I'm from Philadelphia, but I was raised in Detroit, so I just say I'm from Detroit most of the time.
Okay, okay, cool.
And was that it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Okay.
that was everything. So, when and why did you begin writing?
Oh, I started writing at a young age. So football has always been like my dad was a football coach, my uncle coached football. Everybody, we're a big football family.
Okay.
And so being a girl who has mostly brothers, I grew up in a mostly all male household. My little sister didn't come until I was 15, so I was around guys all my life. I know sports, I know football, I know basketball. I can probably run a play down to you better than a man can. And the way I looked at it was like, well, they really think that women don't know sports. So I'm gonna write about it. So I started blogging, I started writing for sports magazines, I started working with sports teams, writing. And that's where my writing started. It was all about sports for me. And then
Wow.
one day I woke up and I was like, I could write a romance book. And then boom, that Asian
Then
Monique
it
was born.
happened. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's cool. That's very cool. I like that because I wasn't expecting that answer whatsoever.
Nobody ever does.
Awesome, awesome. Now, when did you consider your like the first time you actually considered yourself a writer?
The first time I actually considered myself a writer. I'm gonna say my first book. I felt like a real writer.
Okay.
Like writing sports was cool. Everybody knew who I was. Like, oh, she writes sports. The guys knew, like, no, we know who her dad is. Like, we know it was just regular for me. Like everybody knew already. Well, she
Mhm.
writes sports. So writing romance, it was like, okay, I got a real book out here. Like you can type my name in on Amazon and my books are gonna pop up. I'm a real writer now. That's how it was then.
Cool.
So that
I
was
can see that.
January 2018.
2000. Okay, so this is wait a minute now. How you got all these? Okay, we'll get to
All
that later.
right, I
We'll
be
get.
writing.
I'm ahead. Let me slow down. Okay, now are you an independent author? Are you working with traditional publishing, or like what do you classify yourself as?
So I'm independent. I've been independent since October of last year.
Okay, cool,
Yeah,
cool.
I started
And
off with a publisher. We're not gonna get into all of that, but yeah,
okay, so
I've,
you
I've
opted
been
for the
independent since
independent
last
work.
year, October.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
All right, now tell us what is the name of the book you're currently promoting?
the book I'm currently promoting, with Love, the Flower Sisters. It's on
Okay,
pre-order. It comes out January 8th, just like I know.
Okay, what's it about?
So I wrote a 6-book series this year about 6 sisters. They're all named after flowers. And so the series was about love languages. I did the first 5 books were about the love languages. The last book clearly is not a 6th love language, so it was just kind of the 6th sister just kind of had her own book. She kind of came in like last minute. Nobody knew it was a 6th sister until I wrote the first book. I didn't even know it was a 6th sister until I wrote the first book. So, but yeah, it was about love languages, and yeah, so this is the end for them. There's a double wedding happening. It's Christmas time, or it's Christmas/New Year time in the book. Okay. And this is just the end for them. I'm done with the series. I'm done with them. I'm over the sisters. So yeah, I'm just trying to end it and give them this last little hoorah before I go. That was my best-selling series this year too.
Wow. So, okay. I definitely didn't expect that. You already know which book I was about to read.
Yeah, Love and Law is a good book, but everybody is Flower Sisters, because that's what I wrote all year. Love and Law was my last book of this year. So
okay. Yeah. Now, what inspired you to write the series, the last book in the series, or how did the idea come about?
So all of my books connect in some way. I won't go into the books that I had under the publisher. So when I first went independent, my first book was Ready, Set, Love. It was it was just kind of like an introduction book. Like, I'm just writing this. It was really quick, probably like maybe 50 pages at the most. And it was kind of like introducing these new characters that aren't in Detroit. Most of my books now are like based in New York or Philadelphia, which Philadelphia is where I'm from. So it's based in like New York or Philadelphia. And I was just kind of introducing these new characters. So I introduced a character in Ready, Set, Love. His name is Elijah. And he's from New York. He's an attorney, like this big power defense attorney. And that was just my way of introducing them to his book, which was Confidently Lost. And then that was my first, that came out October of last year. That was like my first big like independent book. It was like almost 200 pages. And in that book, you have Elijah and Nova, they get together. But I introduced the Flower Sisters in that book. They're her friends. And so everybody kept asking me in the reviews, like, so are we gonna get books on the Flower Sisters? Are we gonna hear about the Flower Sisters? And I'm like, no, I don't know. And then I went on and I did Dancing for Your Heart, and then I did Speaking of Love, and then they was like, all right, now the Flower Sisters is funny. Can we get them? I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give y'all the Flower Sisters since y'all want them so bad. Cool. That's how they were birthed. I was like, all right, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. But I realized when I was reading the stories back, when I was reading that Confidently Lost and Speaking of Love, where they only made small cameos. But when I read it, I'm like, oh, every time I talk about Magnolia, it's like, and I really should say it was Blossom. Every time I talk about Blossom or Daisy, it seems like Blossom is very passionate. And then you got Daisy, who's like, she loves quality time. Like, y'all don't ever come see us in Philadelphia. Like, it was all, and I'm like, you know what? These characters kind of giving off love language vibes. Maybe I can do that. And that's just how, boom, there you go, love languages.
Nice. So your readers kind of help dictate what you put out.
They do. They do. That's a little bit. I try not to give too much leeway, because if I say like, "Would y'all want this character?" and they say it's gonna be like that all the time. They're gonna be asking me every other day, like, "So we getting these characters?"
Yes, no. I believe that. I definitely
I try not, because I really don't want to write about every character I bring up. I don't want to, but if people are like asking about it over and over again, I'm gonna do it.
Okay. Yeah. So you listen to your readers. I like that. Try to. Now, are any of the experiences that are listed with the Flower Sisters from your own life, or someone that's close to you that you know?
No, actually, that's kind of weird. Usually it's a little bit of something. Mm-hmm. But what I will say is that my male characters are like the men. I guess so. I guess I can say, yeah, because like the men in my life are like very, like my dad. I was raised by my dad. I got 5 brothers. Like, they're all like very, I could say the men in my book are very like passionate, but they're a little aggressive. They're a little hood. Like, those are the men in my life. Okay. So yeah, I guess I do kind of, my male characters are more like the men in my life versus my female characters.
Okay. I like that. Now, what would you say was the hardest part of writing your book?
Of writing any book, or Love and Law?
Let's stick with the Flower Sisters, because you said you did the last Flower Sister. So let's stick with that.
Okay. Honestly, because most writers, and I won't say most writers, I'm gonna say a lot of writers, they outline. So they know what's going to happen in their story. Like they know what's going to happen in the beginning, the middle, the end. They might not know all the details, but they know enough. I write off the top of my head. I don't know what's happening whatsoever. I just know that this story is about a girl who was lost. They lost their parents. All the sisters, they lost their parents. They was raised by their aunt. Like, I know those small things. I know who they're going to be with. I know their name. I know their job. I don't know nothing that's going to happen in the story. Like, I write off the top of my head, and it's really just as I'm typing, it just comes to me. So sometimes I can't write. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know what's happening next. Like, I don't,
Right.
it's not coming to me. And I have to stop. And am I going to get this book out on time? Because I really don't, I don't know what's about to happen next. So that's the hardest part for me. I think I tried to outline it and it didn't work for me.
Okay.
I outlined an entire book, and it was Blossom's book, which her book was the 5th Flower Sister book. I outlined her whole book, and nothing that I wrote in the outline happened in the book. I literally still wrote off the top of my head, so it was pointless to even do the outline.
Well, you have to find your own way. Everyone doesn't operate the same way. Outlining might work for some, and then
Yeah,
letting it flow organically might work better for you. And I think
it
that's
definitely
kind of
works better
cool.
for me. And I'm a last minute type of person. Like, um, when I send my book off to be, because I edit and then I'll send it off to a proofreader so they can go over it and try to fix some errors, which
Mhm.
we're not going to get into proofreaders and editors, but yeah, I try to get my books as clean as possible. It doesn't always happen that way, but I try. And one thing that I do when I send my books off, the epilogue is not done when I send my books off. A
Okay.
lot of the scenes I put placeholders. So I might write a scene or a chapter, and I might get to that and it's not even a full chapter. I might get to a certain part and be like, I don't know what's about to happen next. So I'm just gonna put something in bold here that says you need to finish this and keep it moving. So I can
Okay.
get the story done. And so when I send it to an editor, it literally, those placeholders are still there. There's no epilogue done. Like, it's not finished, but I need you to go through this, the
What I
60,000
have
words I
so far.
already wrote, and just find those errors for me so I can go back in and add what I need to add in. And so, like,
Yes.
uploading a book to Amazon, most people try to do it like the night before or the day before, because Amazon might hold your book up. I've never had that happen to me before. I've never had a book held up by Amazon. So I just do what I do. So if a book coming out, let's say I had a book coming out tomorrow, I'm pretty sure like right now at 4:12, I'm probably still writing. Like, I'm probably still writing. It's not gonna get uploaded till about 4 in the morning. And yeah, that's just what it is. Like, I usually spend my release day sleeping the whole day away, because I probably
Wow.
was up till about 5, 6 in the morning writing still, and then I upload
Right.
the book. So
I, I have heard that some of the other authors that I do follow, and they're like, I don't know what's going on. They're holding up my book. I don't know why it's not out yet. I'll let you guys know once it's live. I have heard of that, but it looks like it's been working out for you.
it's been working out for me. And a lot of times, I hate to say this, but a lot of times, sometimes the authors will upload, like, you can see, like, they'll upload it so their readers can see, like, I really did upload this book. And the
Hmm.
reason why they do that is because a lot of authors try to use the whole Amazon thing, like, their book isn't finished, so they just kind of be like, well, Amazon's holding my book up. And really, they still trying to finish the book. So some
Okay.
people will upload to show, like, this book says it's still in review, so
Mm.
they know, like, I uploaded this book. But a lot of times, I mean, I've never had any problems. I've had a few authors who I know, like, they get their books done on time when they say they will, who their books have been held up. I hope it never happens to me. Let me knock on wood somewhere around here, because
Right, right, right. Well,
that would be
hopefully
horrible.
not. Hopefully not. Now, what was
Yeah.
the easiest part of writing the book for you?
The easiest part for me, um, honestly, is like the dialogue. That's my favorite part. The talking
Okay.
between characters. It's like the inner monologue for me that's like, oh, here we go. Like, I don't feel like doing all of this. If I could just write a book with all dialogue, I would. It's the dialogue for me. Like, I like the characters interacting. I'm a
Okay.
jokester. I'm silly, so I kind of like being silly in my books a little bit too. But yeah, it's the dialogue for me. That's the easiest part for me. I can get dialogue like this.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Now, did you learn anything from writing your book? And if you did, what was it?
Mm, I won't say. I mean, every book is a learning process. I think.
Okay.
Just sometimes like you might write one book, like what I'll say this, like with my previous books, the books that came out in 2018 and then towards the middle of 2019, when I read those books back and I'm like, what is this? What did I write? Who is this author? I don't know who this author is. And then I read my books from October 2019 until now, and I'm like, this is the author that I know. Like my work the writing has grown so much. So I think it's really just trial and error. I think it's, perfecting your craft. I think it's reading, because reading is very important. A lot of authors, once you start, that happened to me. Like I was a huge reader. I can read 4 or 5 books in a week if I really wanted to. But once I started writing, I stopped reading because it was like my focus was all on writing. And I realized like, no, I need to take time to read because that's what I love to do. That's what made me want to write a romance book. So let me go back to reading, because you learn from those books. You learn from reading other people's books. Now, I won't say read those books and then take from those books. Right. But what I will say is read those books, and you can see how like a lot of new authors, they'll ask me, can you read this over for me? And I'll read it and I'll be like, I can't really read this or understand it because it's not formatted right. Like it's not formatted right. All your words are running together. Like go read a book. And then because I know you read, when you read that book, pay attention to how it's formatted, pay attention to how the dialogue looks. That's important because it teaches you. So yeah, I just think that just reading and continuously writing. Every time I write, I feel like I get better at it. Okay. So I might write something and be like, dang girl, you wrote that? Wait a minute. Or I might write a scene or a sentence and be like, where did that come from? It's just all trial and error and reading and writing and just kind of doing it over and over and over again.
Nice. So you get to see your growth in your writing.
Definitely. Because when people ask me now, like, what book should I start off with? I'll be like, Confidently Lost. Don't even go back to the other books. Just start at Confidently Lost. If you want to go back, sure, go ahead. And a lot of people go back and they be like, girl, this book was good. And I'll be like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, hey, if you like it, I love it.
Right, everyone has their own taste,
Yeah.
Now, remind me again, what is the name of the last Flower Sisters book?
With Love, the Flower Sisters. So basically a sign off.
With Love. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I just want to make sure I have that in my mental faculties there to remember. Now, did you kind of talk about your growth and things like that? Did you learn anything from writing that particular, book With Love, the Flower Sisters? Anything that you learned?
So I'm still writing that book.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still writing that book. Usually with Amazon, when you pre-order, you have to have it submitted like 4 days before the actual date. So I don't have to have it submitted until January 4th. So right now I'm still in the process of writing that book.
Wow. I think this is the first time I've had this happen where like the author is still in the process of finishing up on their, pre-order. That's kind of cool.
I like that. Yeah. So I did the pre-order because I just honestly, if I didn't do the pre-order, the book probably wouldn't have got done. Like I know that if I do the pre-order, I have to get it done because Amazon won't let you do pre-orders for a year if you don't submit the book. So
okay.
Yeah. So like I know this book is gonna get done. It has to be submitted by this day. So, and I'm still, like I said, I'm a last minute person. I work well under pressure. So knowing that I have to have a book done by January 4th, it'll be done. I still have to send it off to be edited. So I'm actually like right at the end of it right now. Like maybe I still have the wedding scenes to write. But other than that, like it's mostly done. Okay. I'm still writing that. So I mean, I'm not, honestly, it's just really a follow-up on them. I kind of compiled them all into one book, each couple. So I kind of broke it up like Love and Law, where I broke up between couples or siblings. So, but they're really short. Like each sibling's story is maybe 5 or 6K a piece. Okay. And then the wedding part is kind of longer. But other than that, it's just really a follow-up because at the end of the last book, the 6th book, one sister was pregnant, the other one was getting married, the other one was like, well, I want to get married too, and they was like, well, let's have a double wedding, and I'm like, I can't leave it off like that, and they was asking about it, so I'm like, I'm gonna give them this book, and then I'm gonna move on to the next, because what's next is what Love and Law is kind of taking this big form now, and so what's next is like a lot of characters from out of that book.
Okay, well, I like the fact that you know what works for you. The deadline is your motivation to make sure that book gets out. It's a little different, but hey, it works for Asia Monique.
It does.
So that's all that matters. Now, I guess we can ask, because you said that it's kind of like a send off with Love from the Flower Sister. Is there a message that you want your readers to grasp out of that book?
Yeah, which is my synopsis, which is really short. I don't write long synopses. I'm not a long synopsis writer. We had to do that when I was with a publisher and I was over it. So most of my synopses are like 4 or 5 sentences. So with Love, the Flower Sisters, because it is the end of, it's the end for, it's not the end for them. You're still going to hear from them, just like you heard from Juniper, which is one of the sisters in Love and Law. All those characters are connected in some way. So this is our end and also our beginning. So it's not really the end for them. Like, this is, you won't get another book on them, but you're going to hear their name. So it's not really the end, but you still hear their name. So it's just, this is our end and also our beginning with Love, the Flower Sisters. That's why it's called With Love, the Flower Sisters. It's their sign off. Like, this is it. This is the, just take what you get out of this and keep it moving.
And don't ask me for nothing else.
Don't ask me for nothing else.
Nice. Now, if you had to do it all over again with the Flower Sisters as a whole, would you change anything with them?
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't. I love, like, when I tell you that I love those characters, I love the male characters. The sisters are a little annoying, but in my opinion, it's probably because I wrote them. I think they're annoying because there's so many of them. Okay. I don't know why I do this to myself, why I make big families like this and then have to write that annoys me. And I did it, so it annoys me that I did it to myself.
Right.
But I really do love the guys. Like, I love the male characters that they end up with. Yeah, I wouldn't change anything.
Nice.
That's kind of crazy. I usually would say, like, no, I would change this. No, I wouldn't change anything.
You know, I was thinking you were going to say I wouldn't have created the series. Like, I just would have left it.
No, I'm happy I created them.
Fun. Okay.
I'm happy I created them because, like, last year at the end, like towards the end of the year, around this time, around Christmas time, it was Thanksgiving, Christmas time. The publisher that I had, they had an issue with Amazon. Everybody knows about this issue. It was all over social media. They were going off about it, where certain publishers, all their books came down off of Amazon. So at one point, every book that I had in 2018 through the middle of 2019, which was 15 books, wasn't there anymore. It was gone. So the only thing that was up was the 2 books that I had released in 2019 on my own. And so I had to start all over. It felt like I got those books back eventually. I was able to get the rights back to those books, but it took a while. It took a lot of arguing. It took a lot of mess to get those books back. But at the end of that year, the money that I was making for Christmas, I didn't get paid for Christmas. I didn't get paid for Thanksgiving. I went through the holidays basically living off my savings. And so when January came, I'm like, yo, I have to write a series. Not only because I want to get paid, but also because I want to show people, like, just because those books came down that you worked hard on does not mean that you should give up. Absolutely. And there was a lot of authors who just was done. Like, they didn't want to write no more, or they were discouraged and didn't want to write and couldn't write. I should say they wanted to write, but couldn't write because they were so discouraged. Not me. I was releasing a book every month. The Flower Sisters came out back to back to back to back to back. Like, January through August, I released every month.
Wow.
So releasing 200-page books every month is a lot, but not only did I gain a whole bunch of readers, not only did the Flower Sisters become this big thing, it was like, okay, yeah, you definitely can do this. You didn't need a publisher. I'm grateful that I gained those readers from that publisher, but you didn't need one. You could have did this on your own if you really wanted to. So now I feel like the Flower Sisters are like this big thing for me. So I don't regret them at all. I'm happy that I wrote them.
Awesome. Now, I do have a question in regards to the issue you had with the publisher. Was that like a Detroit thing? Because I want to say that it was a newly published author who had an issue where her books were taken down and things like that. Or were they, how far reaching was this issue?
This publisher had at least almost 100 authors signed to them. So the authors were all over. Not just here, but there were a couple authors who were from here that was signed to that specific publisher. Wow. And then that specific publisher's husband also had over like 100 something authors signed to him, and their books came down. And then any imprint companies under them, so smaller publishing companies that they had under their companies, those books came down as well. So we're talking about over 300, 400 authors whose books were just gone. We're talking about authors who've been signed with these people for so long. We're talking about 30, 40, 50 books under one person, just gone. Yeah. So that can be me. I only had 15. There were people who had been signed to these people for years who lost 50, who lost 40 to 50 books, and a lot of them don't have their rights back. A lot of them are still fighting for their rights. So
sure,
it
that's
was a mess.
devastating. That, oh my God, I can't imagine.
Yeah,
but
I'm a very like nonchalant type of attitude. So my books came down, and I'm like, on to the next. Like that was me. On to the next. I'm not getting on social media about it. I'm not about to make a whole bunch of statuses. I'm about to just do my thing over here. And what worked out for me too was that I had also finished out my last contract before it happened. And then I decided when I finished that contract, I told the lady, I was like, yeah, I'm going independent. I finished my last book. Boom. So I was out when it happened.
You were already
yeah. So it kind of worked out.
Somehow your spirit already knew it was time for me to move on.
That it was time for me to go. Yeah. Because I was tired of doing that 50-50 split. I was looking at how much money I was making, and I was looking at how much the publisher was getting and how much I was getting. I was like, what? I could take all of that home and I'm splitting this? No way. No way. So yeah, I was over that. I was over not being able to have like creative control. Like my covers were picked out for me. I could say, I don't really like that, but that didn't mean that they were going to change it. Like it was just, I didn't have like really any control over it except for what I wrote. Like what I wrote was me, but covers and promo and all of that stuff was like up to the publisher, and I was over that. I like the covers that I want. I want my covers to look more romance than urban, and I was more of an urban company. I probably was like one of the only romance, like full-blown contemporary romance writers. So under that company, everybody else was more like urban romance, which is a little more like not what I write. So yeah, it was just, they wanted my covers to look more like their theme, and I didn't really like that, but that's neither here nor there. I'm just happy that
because you didn't let it stop you. You're still out here pushing out these books, and you knew it was that what you got out of them was what you needed it to be, and now you're on to the next level, and that's awesome. Now, if you had a message that you wanted your readers to grasp at the completion of this series, what would it be?
That, well, the point of the love language is for me, just for people to know, like, when you love somebody, you don't love them based off of your love language, you love them based off of their love language. So if my love language is quality time, I'm not gonna force somebody or try to make somebody else love me because their love language is the same thing. No, like if their love language is words of affirmation, I'm gonna love them that way. I'm not gonna smother them like because that's what I want. I'm gonna love them with words of affirmation. So I guess like my goal with that book was to show that like if you love somebody based off their love language, that what happens after that is like open. It's, you know what I mean? You kind of, it's hard for me to explain because my love language is all the love languages. So I feel like I love with all the love languages. Like I like words of affirmation. I like quality time. You can definitely buy me some gifts. I'm gonna be cool with that, like, so yeah, but mostly just love people how they want to be loved, not how you feel like they should be loved. That's mostly the takeaway that I wanted people to get from that book. And also, in that book, you can make your own family. Like these girls didn't have their mom, their dad wasn't around. It was them and their aunt, but they made their own families. And I do that with my books. I kind of make them all a big old family. So you had Confidently Lost, and then you had Dancing for Your Heart, and then you had Speaking of Love. These are their friends. They went to high school with these people. So they made their own little family. And when I bring those characters into these 6 books, they're like, wow. And it's in the reviews. They say it all the time, like, I love how you make everything such a big, happy family. Like I have a big family, and my big family is actually related to me. So I like the whole like big family, and some people don't have that. Some people have to make their own family. Their friends is their family, their friends' family is their family, and I have that too in my life. So that's really my goal, is like you can make your own family. You don't have to be alone out here in this world. And it's okay to trust people. Of course, you want to be a little leery to certain people, but you can trust people. It's people out there that you can trust and build families with, friendships with, that turn into like a big family.
Absolutely, because there was a time in my life where non-blood people became my family, and I created my own family and developed that. And but familial bonds are very important, but it's not determined by blood.
Yep,
for sure. Agreed. I love that. Okay. Now we've already talked about a little bit about it. How many books have you written?
26 as of Love and Law.
Wow. And all of this is from since
January 2018.
girl, you
Yeah.
out here working.
Yeah, 26. 2 of those are collabs with my best friend. So
Nice.
We started like a company or whatever where anything we do together will be under that company. We've written 2 collabs so far. Something else is coming really soon. But yeah, so 26 altogether.
Nice. Congratulations on
Thank
that.
you.
Out of those 26, what's your favorite?
Shoot. What's my favorite? I want to say once I like get to the next book, that's always my favorite. So I want to say Love and Law, but I don't want to say Love and Law because I actually think that way back when I was writing about the James brothers, it's 6 of them. It's 7 siblings, 1 sister, and 6 brothers. That was probably like my favorite to write about.
Okay.
But I'm gonna have to go with Love and Law.
All right, I'll take that. I'm a fan. I'll go with that one. Now,
I'm gonna have to go with Love and Law.
We know that you plan on releasing books. We know that the farewell to the Flower Sisters is what's coming up. But beyond that, are we going to get up to 35, 40, 50? What we got?
Oh yeah, I know every book that I'm releasing in 2021 already. I know the titles. I have a cover.
Nice. So
yeah, I'm one of those people. Here. Yeah, I'm one of those people who like I know what I'm releasing. Like I knew in 2020 all the books that I was releasing. I knew that I was doing 6. Well, I knew I was doing 5 books on the sisters, and then book 1, another sister popped up out of nowhere. Honestly, right off the top of my head, so it just kind of came out. So that's how it ended up being 6 books instead of 5. But
okay.
Yeah, I usually know what I'm releasing. So yeah, next year I should say. I know every book that I'm releasing. I'm doing about. Well, I ain't gonna say because they watching in my group and they're gonna be looking for it.
Like you said, and where the other ones at?
Yeah, I might change
I
my
can respect that. I can respect that. But you said that you're kind of a procrastinator in that. I mean, like I see some planning, but not really, but a little bit, because if you have you already know what your 2021 is about to be. So you got something there.
Yeah. They still got to get written though.
It's a start.
Yeah, that's true. They still got to get written.
The thought, and you have the thought there already. So I
might wait up on my sleep. Like, let me add this to mine. I'm probably not going to release everything that I planned out because I feel like I was gonna only do seasonal releases, so fall, winter, spring, what are the seasons? Whatever, the seasons. I was only gonna do 1 book a season this year because I feel like I'm about to graduate, and I got a lot going on there. I wanna, it's a lot that I want to do, and so I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to release every single month like I did in 2020, but I'm probably gonna release maybe every single month like I did in 2020. So I'm gonna just be doing double time. Yeah, but I don't know. Like I might take something out. I might be like, no, I'll release this in 2022. God willing, I make it to 2021 because we still got some time going. But hopefully, I'm able to like stretch some stuff out. I really don't know. Honestly. But I know like I have a lineup, and so I know what I want to release, but it might not happen.
Okay, I can respect that. I can take that. I'm not going to push you on that one. Now, what separates you from other authors in your genre?
That's kind of hard to say because I'm one of those people who don't really pay attention to what's going on. And I rarely read other authors in my genre. And not even because I don't like want to or because I don't want to support. Like I download books, especially when I see somebody on my timeline. Like it might be somebody that I don't really talk to too many authors also. So, but it might be somebody that I just see on my timeline on Facebook, and I definitely like to download books and swipe because page reads is how we get paid through Amazon, unless you buy the book outright. instead of using Kindle Unlimited, but I like to swipe through authors' books for them because I want them to get paid. So, but I don't really pay too much attention to what's going on. I don't really read too much of authors in my genre. So I can't really tell you like, oh, this is what sets me apart. I feel like I just do me, and ain't nobody me. So, and that's just that.
And I think that's sufficiently answers the question because you're you.
You know what? I try, like, I just feel like there'd be so much going on in this industry. And so my Facebook page, a lot of authors and a lot of publishers and editors aren't like, I don't like really adding a lot of people. My requests are like through the roof because I just want to see I want my old Facebook back. I want to see my family. I want to see them on my timeline, and it's just feel like it's all books all day. And I don't like, where's my dad post at? He posts long paragraphs every other day. Where's his post at? Why do I keep seeing this same book from 2 weeks ago?
Right.
So I just want to be on social media and be regular. That's why my Instagram is like more books than my Facebook is.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just be like in my own little world, honestly.
Okay. Yeah. And that kind of leads to the next question. Like, what is your experience with the writing community?
Yeah, my experience didn't start until January 2018. Okay. So before then I was reading, but I didn't realize that readers, like, as soon as they done reading a book, like, it might be a new to them author and they be like, let me go find them on Facebook and let me go follow them on, like, I wasn't that reader. I was like, dang, this book was good. Let me go see what else they got on Kindle and Amazon, not let me go find them on Facebook. So I wasn't friends with none of these authors at all. I didn't know them. I didn't know what they looked like. I didn't know what they talked about on social media. I wasn't in their readers groups. I was just reading.
Right.
And when I signed and my publisher, like, put in, like, they had their own publishers group or whatever that was private, and they're like, oh, welcome Asia. It was like my Facebook immediately turned into the author world. Like, it was like authors all over my page, and then next minute I'm getting added by 50 million readers at one time, and like, it was so much. And I honestly don't even think I have a full-blown like connection to this new like author university. I like to call it authorversity. Like, I don't really have like a full connection to it because I'm not friends with a lot of authors.
Okay.
I talk to them on social media. We talk back and forth. We laugh and joke on posts, but like, these people don't have my number. Like, maybe a few of them that I actually like connected with. And my best friend is an author, and it wasn't even like, we weren't even friends on social media. Like, she just messaged me on Instagram and was like, I read your book and I love it. And then we became friends. Like, that was that. And like, now she's like my best friend. We've been friends since I started. So, but yeah, I can't even say that I'm fully connected. That makes me feel bad. Oh my God.
I've heard varying answers, and I think that your experience is whatever you make it and whatever works best for you in your authorship. Because I've had people tell me, oh, it's amazing, it's been great, I have a supportive network. Then I have others say, oh, it's absolutely horrible. And I have others who say, keep your circle small. So, it's whatever works for you.
I definitely think that I have a good support, if that's what you mean. Like, authors definitely support me. Well, they support, but that's because I support. I feel like it's you. If I support you, you support me. I feel like that's what it's like. And between authors online, because it's really different now than it was clearly years ago. Years ago, when nobody was on social media, you couldn't get in touch with Sister Soldier and Soldier. What's her name? Sister Soldier. Yeah, you couldn't get in touch with those authors on social media like you can with us now. So
yes.
Yeah, I just so I definitely have, like, people definitely support, and I try to support as much as I can. A lot of times I don't see a lot of their stuff, but I definitely support. So yeah, I don't have like beef with nobody. So I guess I do kind of have a good experience.
Good. I hope it stays that way. Now, do you have?
Me too, because I'm not nice. So.
You said that was my warning. You heard it.
Nice, yeah.
No. Do you have any advice for any other writers?
To write. Okay. A lot of authors, like a lot of aspiring authors, they want to write and they might be writing at home, but it's like, well, this don't compare yourself, right? And don't compare yourself. So because you've seen this author get 12 number ones in a row, don't mean that you have to aspire to get 12 number ones in a row. First off, that whole Amazon bestsellers chart is trash anyways. It really doesn't matter, because I've had maybe 2 or 3 number one releases. And the other ones may have reached the top 10, top 20, top 30, but I still got 3 million page reads in 2020. So it really doesn't matter if I got a number one or not. I still have readers. And a lot of times you might look at a book that has 24 reviews and you think only 24 people read the book. That ain't true. For every 100 people that read a book, maybe 10 of them is going to leave a review. Maybe. And that's just me pushing it. Maybe 5. For real. And I always wonder why that's like that. Like, you might look at a book and you'd be like, okay, if I look at the sales of Love and Law and how much it sold and how many page reads I got and how many people actually bought that book that was $4.99 versus the 26 reviews that are on there, I would be like, what is going on? Like, why is it that all of these people bought this book, but only 24 of y'all or 26 of y'all left a review? So yeah, I just don't compare yourself to nobody else. Just do you. Write what you want to write. Don't let nobody tell you what you should write, how you should write it, how it should end. Write what you want to write, and release it. That's what makes you a writer.
Yeah.
So don't sit at home and be like, girl, I'm a writer, and you writing in your notebook every night and you typing on your computer every other day, but you haven't released anything. Release it. Let the world see it. And also, not everybody is gonna like it. That's okay. They don't gotta like it.
True.
They don't have to like it. So just write, and right.
I like it. All right. Moving along. All right. What is your favorite book of all time, Aisha?
My favorite book of all time? I'm gonna have to go with the first book that I ever read, The Coldest Winter Ever.
Okay.
That's the first book I ever read. Like, I was sneaking that book under my cover in middle school. With the flashlight, trying to read so my dad didn't catch me.
It's funny because I'm hearing a lot of different feedback as far as the sequel coming out after all these years and all that. Yeah. But when I have this, like, sometimes I have reading spurts and I'm on a nice spurt at this point. But when I was younger, I was probably like 18, 19 years old when I read it. And I'm like, this book is amazing. It was so good to me. And I know everyone's not going to feel the same way, but I'm excited to see what the sequel could be.
Me too. So I'm definitely going to get the book. I don't know how much I'm going to like it because I love The Coldest Winter Ever, but I read The Coldest Winter Ever when I was like 10, 11. So, I just think that our tastes change. And so a lot of times people who have like never read The Coldest Winter Ever and they read it now, they're like, oh, everybody's hyping this book up, but I don't really see it. That's because you're used to reading what we write now. The way The Coldest Winter, the way that book is written is completely different than how we write now. Like the Omar Tyrese and all of those books are written completely different. Like if you read those books, it was written for that time. So I feel like I hope that, I don't want to say like I hope that she kind of conformed. I don't want to say that, but I hope that when I read it, it's like I'm feeling like 2018, 2019-ish when I'm reading it. I hope.
I don't know.
But I don't think it's gonna be that way because I feel like she's very set in her ways. I think when I even when I read like the sequel, like the Portia Santiago book, I read that book. I read that newer Midnight book, those books that came out in like 2016. It was very her, like it was her. So I don't know. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it. I feel like maybe she should have left it alone. It's such a classic. I just don't know.
I don't know. I'm excited to see what she could do with it. I don't know if I probably need to reread The Coldest Winter Ever again. Like I do. Like I said, because I'm 37 now, so I don't. That's a nice little gap in between reading it. So I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. But because I do my reviews based on what spoke to my soul. So if you can remember, what spoke to your soul when reading that book?
That it was a lot of drama, and I was 11.
Yeah, right. That's all. Like it's not gonna work.
That it was a lot going on, and it was a lot of just, I don't know. I think when I read those books, now, like I read, like my mom has like if I go in this laundry room, she has this shelf in there and it's like full of books. Coldest Winter Ever is up there. Midnight, all his books is up there. Like those books are there. So when I was younger reading those books, I really think it was just fascinating. Like my dad was like strict. I won't say he was strict, but he was kind of strict. So I was just, and my brothers was like very overprotective. So it was like, but I'm reading this book, and Winter is like, wow, there's she out there. You know, her daddy done got arrested for drugs. And I'm like, dang, do my daddy sell drugs? Because he had a little bit of money. Like that's how that's how I was as a kid.
See, that's why you wasn't supposed to be reading.
That's exactly why I wasn't supposed to be reading it. So yeah, now
Right.
you know, I can't really say because I feel like I was so young, and I feel like I was just fascinated by like that fast life that was happening in the book.
Right.
That wasn't happening in my real life.
Right. I can see that. Now, are you reading something now?
Let me open up my Kindle. Hold on. Let me tell you. I've been fascinated with motorcycle club romances.
Really? Okay.
I don't know why. Like, and I've also been kind of obsessed with arranged marriage romances as well. That's probably why Monroe and Sheldon is in an arranged romance. So, let me see what's in here. I did read. Oh, you know what? One of my favorite authors. I don't really say that she's one of my favorites, but I will say that I really like her work that I just stumbled across. Her name is Cora Riley, and she writes these mafia romances. And I read a book, and a lot of them are like arranged romances. And I just read a book recently called Fragile Longing. That was a pretty good book. I know a lot of times, like I read my Black authors and I support, but like sometimes I don't be saying what I'm reading because I'll be all over the place. I might read a Black author, I might read a white author, like I'll be all over the place. So sometimes I'm not even gonna tell y'all what I'm reading because y'all probably not gonna be interested in it at all.
No.
But yeah, I just read this book. It was called Fragile Longing, and all her books kind of connect, I guess, in a way. I haven't read everything that she's written, but I feel like when I'm reading the book, like, okay, something missing because I feel like this story was here somewhere before and I missed it. So I feel like I need to go back and like look through her catalog. But yeah, the book was called Fragile Longing, and it was a mafia arranged romance. So and it was a really, really good book. And I like reading long books. I know some people like reading short books. I like reading books that be like at least 250 pages or more because I feel like I'm invested.
Right.
When it's short, which I'm not a really long book writer. 11 Law is my longest book that I've ever written in my life. So I've never written a 300-page book. All my books have been 200 or less. So yeah, I don't know. I maybe that's why I like reading them long because I like writing them short. Maybe, I don't know.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Now, Asia, I've enjoyed what we've discussed thus far, but tell me, is there anything specific you want to tell your current or future readers?
Thank you. That's it. Thank you, because I wouldn't be able to. I feel like I would still be writing, but I don't think I would be as encouraged to write or like driven to write if it wasn't for my readers. Hopping in my inbox, commenting on my post on Instagram, joining my group, and then asking, what's the order of your books again? Like that stuff motivates me to like want to write. So thank you to my future readers. Welcome. Welcome, and I hope you enjoy it. But yeah, it's mostly just thank you. Like the support has been from the very beginning. Like my very first book, I was shocked at the support that I got from that because it's my first book. You don't know me. I could suck as a writer, and I don't even say suck as a writer because I don't like saying that people suck or that I just feel like some people need to practice more or write more in order to kind of get the flow right. But other than that, I feel like everybody's a good writer. Like,
I mean, it takes a lot
to like your work. Some people aren't gonna like it. Yeah. So, but yeah, I just thank you because I wouldn't be able to write as a full-time author and pay my bills every month and still have, money to do as I please without them. But I also wouldn't be able to do what I love without them. So yes, thank you.
Awesome. Well, I thank you for joining us. Lastly, please tell us, how can we stay up to date with Asia Monique?
So you can follow me on Instagram. That's where I mostly post anything Asia Monique So __ AYE Monique MONIQUE. You can also join my readers group on Facebook, For the Love of Asian Monique. That's where I really post like everything first. So they get everything first and then it goes on social media. So yeah, that's mostly there. Or you can visit my website, which is my name, asianmonique.com. Any updates that I have are on there. Any character updates. A lot of times people want to know about characters that I've written about before. You can go on there and read about them. I think that's it. Instagram. You can add me on Facebook. I don't really be on there like that, besides sharing releases and kind of joking around with my family and stuff. So, but Asian Monique is my name on Facebook. If you want to pop in on there and add me. And yeah, that's about it.
All right. All right. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed Love and Law. Like, girl,
Yeah, that book,
I
honestly,
hope
that's
the
like
review shows you how much I enjoyed it.
no, first off, when I clicked it, I said, well, this is a long review.
I'm long-winded. I'm sorry.
But no, I'm actually happy. Like usually when I read long reviews, they're usually giving away the whole entire story. You was able to write a long review without giving away nothing. So I was like, yes.
Thank you. That's what I set out to do. I accomplished it. I feel like I'm doing it right.
No, you definitely did it right. I loved that review. Love and Law is definitely my baby because, like I said, it was my last book of the year. It was my longest book that I've ever written, and it's completely opposite of what I usually write. So yeah, I won't say it's completely opposite, but it's definitely a little different. The whole crime family thing, I don't really write about too much, something that's like too urban. I won't really say that my book was urban though. I would just say it kind of has some urban undertones, but other than that, it was mostly like romance. But yeah, I usually don't write like storylines like that, so it was definitely fun to write. Definitely one of my favorite books. Yeah, and for everybody who's been asking, yes, Sheldon and Monroe is getting a book. They've been asking me nonstop. Yes, and it's gonna come out in February. Any books after that are gonna kind of just, you'll see. I guess they're gonna be asking, and they're gonna figure it out anyways. When they read these books, they figure it out. Like who getting the book next? Yeah, got to be them. So. So yeah, but definitely Sheldon and Monroe's gonna get another book. It will not be a follow-up to Love and Law. I'm sorry, y'all, I can't do it. It's too much.
I will.
But you will hear from those characters again because clearly Sheldon is, related to Ashton, and then you got, he's with Monroe, who is related to the Edwards.
It's very intricate for sure. The lineup at the beginning definitely helps. So yeah. I understand why you don't want to. You don't have to like it.
Because it's just so much but all my books are like that though. Like when you start, like I know you're new to me, like Love and Law was your first book ever that you've ever read by me. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna tell you, start at Confidently Lost. Don't go back. I mean, if you want to go back, you can. I'm pretty sure you probably gonna end up going back. But if you start off at like Confidently Lost, you'll see the connections. You'll see that actually Jameson and Jaslyn were introduced in Confidently Lost. They're Elijah's friend. So you heard Elijah and Nova's names in that book. That's because they were introduced way in the beginning. Okay. Like Love and Law was already in my mind when I wrote Confidently Lost because I'm a huge Blue Bloods fan. So that theme of you said family, that theme of like a family working in law enforcement came from that. Mm-hmm. And then Elijah just so happened to be a lawyer. I'm like, oh yeah, let me make him friends with this family so that way I can, weave them in some way somehow. So when I say all my books connect, they all connect. They were introduced way in the beginning of this independent journey. So
well, I'm happy. So I'll start there.
Yeah, start there. You're gonna hear the Flower Sisters right in there somewhere. You're gonna hear about, so just start there and then keep it moving.
Well, again, Asia, thank you so much for joining us. I certainly appreciate you taking the time to sit and speak with me. And I look forward to what else you have in store for us.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Oh, you're welcome. And as for my viewers, as always, happy reading, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.